All right. Well, we will get going. And thank you so much for joining today's special VetNet session focused on digital safety and the responsible use of AI. This event is really designed to offer practical insights to help you stay secure and informed in today's tech-driven world. I'm Linda Nellis. I'm the Alumni Services and Engagement Coordinator at the Daniello Institute for Veterans and Military Families. And we're joined by Brian Bradliff, Program Manager for Education and Training at the IVMF. And Brian will kick things off with an overview of IVMF's cybersecurity resources and programs. And next, we'll hear from Allie Armisen, President of the Cybercrime Support Network and FightCybercrime.org. And Allie will share actionable tips and tools to really help you recognize and respond to online threats. And finally, we'll hear from Ethan Braglio, an IVMF alum and CEO of BC Insights Developing LLM Solutions, who will walk us through practical applications and best practices for using AI responsibly. So I'm going to be recording the session and sending it to everybody following the VetNet. So at this time, I'll go ahead and hand it over to Brian.
Thank you, Linda. I just was sharing my screen, so I'm operating off multiple screens today in a different environment. So as we all know, in the IT world, every time we do an upgrade, everything looks a little different on our screen. So we're flowing with the changes. So my name is Brian Ralph. I am the Program Manager for Education and Training here at the IVMF. I was formerly our CyberVets Program Manager, so I actually came on board initially about 6 years ago, 2019, as the IVMF was the lead for a consortium of no-cost cybersecurity certifications that a number of different vendors had provided back then, and we continue to have those opportunities every day. So I just wanted to, we're all here because October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month. I remember back in 2004 when Cybersecurity Awareness Month was launched with the new formation a couple years earlier of DHS, between DHS and the National Cybersecurity Alliance. So we're just over 2025. So it's been quite a while, but the intent, is every day should be Cybersecurity Awareness Day. But during this month, we pump out a lot of resources and really try to get our public, private, and organizations really on board and ramped up for that next year of what's changed. And as we all know, the word that follows right behind cybersecurity nowadays is AI. So AI has become a very integrated part of cybersecurity. So we've all heard the term out there. It's AI is not going to replace us, but those people that use AI are the ones that are going to replace us. And we can talk about a lot of those facts as we go along. But what I do want to just go over real quick here is some of the offerings that we provide either through our Onward Opportunity Program, which that's up there right now. So if you notice on our current offerings, the vast majority of those are information technology offerings. All those offerings, whether you come in through O2O as one of our IVMF family members and then become alumni, or if you took one of the other programs, you actually have all this curriculum available to you as an alumni. So I just want to say that we've got two of our fantastic alumni team members on here now. So if you haven't gotten a chance to take advantage of some of this curriculum, whether it be the AI, which we in fact we're in a process right now of evaluating a couple of new AI offerings, and I'm going to give you a couple that you can take advantage of right now. So a lot of great cyber related curriculum out there, whether you're a beginner and just trying to get your foot in the door. We still have we got about 8 months left on our Google Cybersecurity Grant that we've been given through google.org. So we got a couple more cohorts of that are available. And in addition to, let me pop over to my next slide. In addition to all this great AI curriculum that we call our AI suite that you can take, again, either as a supplement to your O2O coursework, or you can apply for it and get access to it as an alumni offering through our alumni team. So, at the end of the day, bottom line is if you're not thinking cybersecurity, if it's a career field you're thinking about going into, one of my favorite resources that I probably use weekly, talking with transiting service members, is cyberseek.org. Has a lot of great tools. Can give you some career paths, some different training, and a great look at the job market that's out there. So that's one of those public partnerships that are out there. It's between CompTIA, which I'm sure many of you have heard of, and we have a number of the CompTIA certifications out there, and the nice NIST framework. So with that being said, I'm going to pass over, but yeah, feel free to reach out, whether it as an O2O participant, take one of our primaries, or come on through our alumni services, and we'll get you connected with one of our numerous learning management systems, whether it be Skillsoft or Scipio. We've got Cisco Networking Academy, and then we still have, like I said, we still have some of our Google AI and cybersecurity curriculum that we present on the Coursera learning management system. So with that being said, I will pass it back over to our team, and I'll stop sharing.
All right. Is that me? It's me, right? Okay. Yeah. Linda's like, come on, Allie, get with us. All right. I'm a simple creature. I have to do this first before I start giving my presentation. All right. If you can see it, I'm good. Yeah. All right. Whew. All right. So, hi, everyone. I'm Allie. I'm a veteran. It's good to be here with all you MilVet community connected people. I'm really looking forward to the conversation today. I'm here for Ethan. I said that before we even started. I'm here for Ethan so he can help me do my job better. So I hope my part is helpful. I hope it's interesting, but I'm going to get through it because I want to hear what he has to say. So what I do is I work with people who have experienced online cybercrime, and it's severe online cybercrime. So when I say that, I'm talking about romance fraud, crypto investment fraud, identity theft, online harassment, those type of things. So every day I see how technology, emotion, and trust collide and result, unfortunately, in devastating amounts of money stolen, and information stolen, and again, just emotional turmoil. So today's focus is on AI, but my perspective is going to come from how humans use or interact with AI, or don't use AI, or don't even know that they're using AI, but they're using it, right? So I'm here to bring that lens to the conversation. So I'm just going to give you, though, a brief introduction on what we do and what we see at fightcybercrime.org. So fightcybercrime.org, we are a national nonprofit. We help individuals and families recognize, report, and recover from cybercrime. We run a bunch of initiatives, but I'm just going to bring up two today. Obviously, I'm going to tell you about the MilVet program that we have. And this is where we just partner with agencies, organizations, so we can deliver cyber awareness training, campaigns, talks, webinars, right, and resources that are going to help the military community stay safe online. The second thing I'm going to bring up, because I'm going to talk about this a little bit today, is our romance scam recovery group. This is a trauma-informed peer support program for victims of romance fraud or crypto investment fraud. Crypto investment fraud is also known as pig butchering. We just don't use that term. Also, we named the group Romance Scam Recovery Group before crypto investment fraud was really a thing. So we do have two separate groups for those victims who have been affected by those separate crimes. And sometimes, right, the crypto investment can be also a romance fraud. So we do help with that as well. Now, increasingly, we are seeing AI used in these scams. That's not a shocker to anybody. But what we're also doing is we're helping survivors use how to learn AI tools to protect themselves in the future. So our mission's real simple. We just want to make sure that nobody has to go through recovery alone if they've been affected by these severe cybercrimes. So we help turn the shame, the fear, the isolation into knowledge, into confidence, and into connection. All right. Why recovery matters. And this is like a pain point for me. So sorry, I'm going to take you on a journey. But a couple months ago, someone told me, hey, recovery doesn't matter, right? Because unfortunately, currently, if you are affected by a severe cybercrime and a lot of money is stolen from you, justice is rare. You are not likely going to get that money back. But I feel like that view really misses the point of recovery and all that it can be. So good recovery, again, addresses shame. It restores dignity. It provides a plan and a way ahead for that victim or survivor. And it helps prevent future re-victimization. And that's so crucial. It addresses issues like taxes, credit, identity theft, emotional trauma, all the things that need to be addressed after a severe cybercrime. And it really helps people rebuild trust, not just in their technology, not just in the world, but also themselves. So many times we see people come to us and they say, I don't even trust myself with technology. They don't even want to turn on their computer, let alone use an AI tool to help them. So that is something that we address and help with during recovery. So with that, I'll just kind of hit on these main points on the screen that really speak to why fraud and scam recovery is so important. Recovery is prevention. I really, really believe that, right? People who have been affected by a scam are at a higher risk of being affected by a scam again in the future. So helping them rebuild, again, financially, improving their digital hygiene, their emotional resilience, that's active prevention against the next scam they run into. And we all know they're going to run into a next scam because we run into scams daily, right? So about 33% of the people who come to us for help have experienced multiple scams. So think of the pain, think of the money, think of the information that was stolen in every one of those scams. And think if we had just spent some time with them going through all the things I just mentioned before, think of what we could have saved them from, right? And our economy from if we had gotten to them after scam one. Recovery makes prevention smarter, right? When victims are told there is nothing you can do, there's no sense in reporting or thinking about it, just move on. We miss reporting data. We miss a chance to trace, to hunt the bad guys. Victims are bringing really critical insight about how scams work and where systems fail. And that information can make prevention smarter. It can turn experience into better protection, and it can influence policies, how we respond, regulation, all that good stuff. And then, as I mentioned before, there's little justice when it comes to this crime right now, and the bad guys know it. They got a clear message that fraud is low risk, high reward. So they're just going to amp up these scams, these cyber crimes. But if we build recovery systems that really make people whole again, emotionally, financially, and legally, we change that equation, right? We start to make criminals think twice because either they're not as successful, right? Or maybe they're actually seeing consequences. So a few days ago, October 14th, maybe, DOJ announced that they had seized about 15 billion from a crime ring that was conducting those crypto investment scams, those pig butchering scams. And the funds, though, have to go through the legal system as part of a federal case. So I think people hear that headline and they're like, yes, we're really doing it. And yeah, that is a huge win. But I need you all to keep in mind that not a victim has seen a dime of that money yet, and they will not for years to come because the process is so long, right? The federal case has to happen. And DOJ has said, right, maybe some victims will get some of that funding, but it has to go through court approval. And then that victim has to prove that their money is actually in that pot of money. So it will be years until those victims see that money. So recovery has a lot of flaws, even when criminals are caught and money is seized. But what recovery can do is we can shed light on that and get that changed, right? Figure out how to do this better so that maybe justice can be served. And then finally, recovery matters because it's a time to understand that we're all human. Don't know if you know that, but we're all human. And a lot of times these scams are successful because of our humanity, right? These confidence frauds happen because feelings are driving behavior. So even when we have perfect AI defenses, when we have all these facts in front of our face, people will still sometimes make choices out of love or trust or fear. And that's not necessarily weakness, that's just being human. But recovery gives us the opportunity to show people, to remind people, to reiterate that fact, and to reiterate that tools alone can't save you because the human element is still a factor. So with that, I'm going to just briefly tell you about what we're seeing with regard to victims and AI. None of this is going to surprise you. About 30% of those who come through our programs say they think AI was used. Again, we're kind of like piecing together the story after the fact, but they'll say, I video chatted and it looked great. The person sounded like I thought they were going to sound. They spoke the languages they said they could speak, right? It was fantastic. Some will say, I did notice some delays. It looked a little choppy. The voice sounded a little weird, but at that point, I was so emotionally invested, I explained it away. So again, those facts rarely change the emotionally rooted behaviors that develop. That love, that fear, that hope sometimes is going to override logic. And that's exactly what scammers exploit. So that's why we teach both emotional awareness and technical literacy, right? We want to help participants understand the manipulation tactics, the grooming tactics, while also teaching them how to use technology to protect themselves. Very basic tools that we recommend. Again, we have a spectrum of people that come to us for help. Some are IT professionals, some have trouble with their phones. So we have to address kind of the whole spectrum. And we also have to keep in mind that some of these people have lost everything they have. They don't have a lot of money to spend on tools. So some of the things we recommend are just those AI-powered scam detection tools for emails. So if an email gets through and it's scammy, you get a little alert and maybe it gives you the time, the pause to ask questions, do your research. We do have some participants who have found programs like ChatGPT. There are others out there, but they will feed an email into ChatGPT and say, ChatGPT, is this a scam? And so far, so good. So that is something that some of our participants use and is helping them. Reverse image search, deep fake detection tools. Got to be honest, for the most part, we're starting at the very, very basic level of Google reverse image search. And I know that is not the best tool, but it is free. So it's our starting point. And it is, again, a good starting point. If someone has no idea that these tools exist, it's a good starting point to introduce them to it. But obviously, there are some great tools out there to detect deep fake images as well. And then on-device AI scam kind of impersonation alerts, because people are getting contacted through texts, as you know, chat apps, social media. So something that's going to flag that, right? This is a scam. We just want them to be able to take a pause before that emotional manipulation has had a chance to come through or to set in. And we always remind them, hey, you got to combine these tools again with the habit of slowing down and questioning. Get that image immediately and run it through that reverse image search. Use that layered defense of, hey, I'm using these tools, I'm gathering information, but I'm also critically thinking, right? I'm also asking questions. I'm using my trusted network. What do you think? Does this look real to you? And also recognize when you're emotionally compromised or you're feeling a certain way, right? The isolation, the loneliness, the rushed feelings, the just any sort of strong emotion, that's going to cause you to make a decision that maybe isn't in your best interests. With all of that, we're fightcybercrime.org. We have lots of resources, lots of blogs, lots of things. You can come to our website if you want to report. We don't take your report. We send you to the FBI. We don't need another reporting location. So come check our website out. Lots of resources there to tell you how to basically prevent, recover, and report from a cybercrime. Again, our goal is to make the digital world safer, to help people through recovery, especially for communities like veterans and military families who are targeted. So that's all I have. That was quick, down and dirty. I'm going to stop sharing and I'll pass it to Ethan.
Awesome, great. Let me share my screen. Sharing is not turned on. I might need access to. Okay, cool, thank you. Okay, let me know, is it popping up for everybody?
Not yet. There we go.
There we go, cool.
Perfect.
So let me move this bar. All right, so my name's Ethan Braulio. I recently went through the EBV program through IVMF. It was a great experience to get to go out to Syracuse, meet a lot of great people and kind of learn about how to develop my business. For myself, I'm an Air Force veteran of 4 years, worked at Texas, Ohio, MIT, kind of all over the country. Getting to build like AI and data space solutions for the Air Force, helping them implement those and basically the overall goal was always to save people time and doing it efficiently without, taking people's jobs away, but rather enhancing their capabilities. Based on the topic of today, though, a lot of what we'll be going over is more so around how to avoid and detect when people are trying to scam you. Some of it is just online cybercrime, some of it is AI based. As you can see here, starting out, LinkedIn fake recruiter problem. So when I was getting out of the Air Force, this was actually something that I pretty much ran into daily. Anybody who's had to look for a new job in the past year or two, when you're on LinkedIn and you're looking through there, almost every single day you will get requests from people asking you to interview with them or give them personal contact information with the promise of a job. And oftentimes these roles, it might be something that based off of other jobs that you've applied for that aren't even actual real jobs, but they'll start to build a preference list of what you're looking for in terms of I want to work remote, or I want this certain salary, or I'm looking at these certain types of jobs. And they collect this data on you over time and build these preferences. So then when they use these bot accounts to reach out to you, they know exactly what you're looking for to help increase the odds that you're actually going to message them back and say, hey, I am looking for this kind of work. Here's my contact information. And then they will engage you in a conversation and kind of take it from there. From there, they're either trying to get personal information from you, like a social security number. They might say that they run a background check. They also might look at it in terms of you might have to, which obviously you should never do, pay to interview for it or pay like an application fee, and then they can get $50 to $100 out of you that way. And then of course you just so happen to not get the job a few weeks later. So these are all common kind of scams here. I can reshare my screen to kind of showcase how we look at this. Okay, so Chris here is another person who worked pretty closely with the EBV and the IVMF program. So when you're looking at someone's LinkedIn profile page, hitting more and then scrolling down to about this profile, it's going to show you, hey, some information about this. A lot of time, these bot accounts, you're not going to see them being joined over a decade ago. Obviously, that's not a guarantee one way or the other. But you'll also be able to see, okay, when have they most recently updated contact information, their profile information. Also, they might have verifications through actual, reputable employers. Those are companies that you can then look up and see to kind of help verify that that person is legit and they're not looking to scam you. Another common tactic, you can kind of scroll down, see if they're posting a lot. A lot of times with bots, whether it's on LinkedIn or social media like Facebook, X, you'll see them very quickly post like 4 or 5 times in a row and then not post anymore. So if the account was created, let's say last week, they'll post like 4 or 5 times on Wednesday and they won't post anything else. There won't be any posts from before and they'll stop posting afterwards. That kind of just gets past the initial, like whether it's again, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Facebook, it'll help get them past that initial basically red flag period where they're not able to be kind of seen by other people or they can't directly message other people. It helps bypass that rather lazily, if you ask me. But that's just a way to kind of avoid that on LinkedIn. Let me share my screen again. So again, another common aspect that's going to happen on is something like Snapchat. I myself not on that. I'm not sure if anybody else is here on this. Unfortunately, on this and dating profile sites, it's becoming very common through deep fake images where people are starting to create fake accounts on there. And again, going through either a romance scam to get personal information out of you or other financial benefits out of it. Basically, the clearest, easy way to avoid it here is something as simple as if you don't know the person and they're reaching out to you randomly, whether it's on Instagram, Snapchat, they're probably fake. Really, you should only really reach out to people that you know directly. Obviously, if you want to mess with the bot, you can do that. Just don't give out any potential, personal information there. Don't try to call them. Don't give them your phone number, email address, anything like that. So a little bit on a different path here. I'm sure a lot of people here are using tools like ChatGPT, other large language models like Gemini and whatnot. Unfortunately, the quality of data that you're providing to these large language models, it's using a pretty stupid term here in brain rot, but for those who don't know what that is, basically in the terms of the model is basically losing its ability to think, ability to respond and give you accurate information. This happens when you're giving it information that is either incorrect, of poor quality, whether that's grammatical mistakes, again, incorrect numbers, if you're giving us some math equations and those math equations aren't, correct, it's going to very quickly actually learn off of that material and basically not be able to provide you any information that's going to be useful. One way to kind of counter this again is that use quality data, and this is one of the things that I did when I was in the Air Force. When my business partner actually, we built a large language model that was based entirely on official documents. So whether that's for your business or if you're still in the military, that's gonna be something where you can get official doctrine, train it on that exact information, and then off of that, when I ask it, how would a unit commander go about getting more positions for his unit? It's going to give you step-by-step details of exactly how to do this. You can do this with ChatGPT. They enable custom GPTs where you're able to upload a couple documents to it. And then when it's giving you the answers, it's not just giving you that, random prompt where it's, kind of basing that information off of web information. And a lot of times these large language models like ChatGPT, it's pulling information off of Reddit, it's pulling information off of forum threads where information is either incorrect because anybody can type anything on there, or the information and a lot of times is just outdated. This way you're getting the official documents and pulling the information out of this. So again, for example, with this manpower unit study, you're then able to click on the official document and it'll pull you into exactly where that document and that doctrine and that information is being pulled out of. And you have an easy source or easy way to actually download it. One other thing too, I think this for especially people who are starting their own businesses or just want ways to kind of automate a lot of easy processes. I really like N8N. They have two options. One, you can run it on your own computer, meaning it's entirely free. There's a lot of YouTube tutorials online where you're going to be able to quickly set up email workflows. As well as, again, if you're starting your own business, doing a lot of outreach, reaching out to people, you can set it up where when someone answers a survey that you're putting out or a poll, it automatically stores that information and will send them emails at a later date, kind of automating that process for you. Just a very handy tool. Again, I can kind of put that in the chat and showcase that. I do have a couple different AI examples of like actual tools that I've developed, but I don't want to take up people's time if they're more focused on that cybersecurity aspect. I have a couple points related to that I can share as well. So I'll put them in chat here. That way you don't have to take notes on it and you just kind of immediately have it here. Two-factor authentication. This is as simple as just knowing that you need to have your phone register with each of your accounts. It is a huge pain. I hate having to get up when I'm already comfortable at the work table to grab my phone from the other room, but it does make it nearly impossible for someone who doesn't have access, who didn't like basically rob your home to take your phone and then get into those sites. Password manager, even something as simple as built into Google or Chrome. Again, it's really going to require somebody to, with the way that is encrypted, that someone's basically going to have to break into your house to be able to steal your passwords. Not giving out simple information, whether it's on social media, you'll sometimes see those posts where people are saying, oh, your birth month is this character, post what you are. That's somebody trying to get your contact information or questions that are going to be related, like security questions related to getting password reset. And just in general, I'm not sure if anybody else, I've been getting calls a million times a day now. I'm sure all these different sites have information like phone numbers. I just don't answer someone unless they have left a voicemail before or already have their number saved in my phone. I think that's just a really easy way to avoid dealing with that, whether it's somebody who's trying to scam you or just selling you something that you don't want. And that's pretty much what I have. Again, I have a couple other like actual AI tools. They're not really directly related to cybersecurity, just some different capabilities. And I could also share some resources of the things that I learned. My background was originally in mathematics, which is kind of related to large language models, but I had no coding development experience. So if people are interested in learning how to kind of get started in that field, I'm definitely willing to help them with that. But also, I'll drop my LinkedIn account. Feel free to connect with me. And at any point, if you have any questions, if you think something is a scam and you want me to kind of look at it, I'm always available. I'm always on the set, sit down there and talk with people if they have ideas about these things as well. So yeah, I'll put that in the chat and feel free to connect with me and always willing to answer questions.
That's amazing. Thank you both. This is so terrifying and interesting all at the same time. So Brian Radliff, we do have some questions that had been submitted, so I'll let Brian go through a few questions for both of you.
Yep. So what we'll do is we'll start off with some of the questions that were previously submitted, and then we'll see if we got any of our participants that haven't, after listening to what we presented, have any additional questions. So we'll start with it is the first question. It is, can we discuss the potential downside to creating an AI agent to assist a small business owner? So obviously it's probably going a little bit towards Ethan, but I can give some some input based off of a number of the venues and webinars and so forth that I participate in as a cyber AI training professional.
I'm sorry, can you repeat it one more time, like just the general question? I'm sorry about that. It's been
Sure.
kind of lagging out the last like 20 seconds. I was trying to refresh my internet.
You're good. I put it up I'm also going to put each of the questions
Oh,
up
okay. Yeah, sorry.
in
Yeah,
the chat.
perfect.
So can we discuss the potential downside to creating an AI agent to assist a small business owner? So I can throw out a couple things that I'll that's always a hot topic at most venues is obviously first and foremost is data privacy concerns. So one of the great things that's going on here at Syracuse is the university is doing a phenomenal job of integrating AI tools into everything. But as part of that, it's educating both our students and our staff on different ways to use that. So with using the official tools that the university has already vetted and has oversight on, there's some more safety factors in there versus anytime you're using a free version of anything, you do not want to put anything that has any type of PII in it, because that information is basically going to go out into those models and potentially be used for in any way, shape, or form. So one of the things I talk to you about, small business, A is your data privacy, always having a robust governance and risk exposure especially for your customers' data, because once you've lost confidence and your information has been exposed, that your customers are going to lose confidence in you. So I'd say that. The other thing is, at the end of the day, is over reliance on AI. Always keep the human factor involved in the decision making process. When we start getting too over reliant, we start getting too comfortable. That's when mistakes start happening. So and then as Ethan talked about some of the things, there's bias in decision making and there's hallucination. So depending on which language models you're using, always have, again, it goes back to that human piece, is the ability to QA, QC, quality control, quality assurance of the information you're using and those tools you're using. And then actually, as business owners, it's our cost and complexity. You get what you pay for. So when you're using free tools, you are exposing yourself. But you do have to have a risk analysis in your return on investment. How much money are you putting into AI? How much time is it saving you for your company? Because in addition to that, you're gonna have to if you do have employees, train your employees on using that tool and that capability, how to continue to make sure that those tools and that data is being, and that's the yin and yang between AI and cybersecurity, is making sure that data, at the end of the day, is the data protected? And are you protecting the information, especially if you have anything that's proprietary? So that's kind of my 2 cents. Ethan, if you've got anything you want to add?
Yeah, sure. I think you kind of touched on a little bit, like that human to human connection. I think especially for small business owners, one of the most powerful things you have is that ability. You're not Amazon where you're dealing with millions of transactions a minute. You're dealing with oftentimes just a couple customers at a time, and you have that personal connection with them. I feel like a lot of people are starting to get really good at identifying when you're reading something that was generated through AI, whether that is an essay or like an advertisement. um, you're able to kind of see, okay, this person just clearly copy and pasted this in the chat GPT. They got that spit out email and they got put it in there. They're not going to really want to lean towards you doing that. They're going to just go with the bigger guy who oftentimes is either going to be cheaper, have more utility because they've been doing it for longer. You kind of lose one of the few edges I think you really have. Again, I think there's obviously opportunities for that. If you automating like payment information, stuff like that, or database storage, there's things like that where you don't really care if a person's doing it or a computer's doing it. If anything, the computer or the AI is going to be much more accurate with it. But again, like that human to human connection and contact, I think is what you're really going to be missing out on.
Excellent. All right, let's go with our second question we had. Our second question was, how do you find, let me go back. Allie, I'm sorry, did you have anything you wanted to add to that first question by chance?
You guys nailed it. But as someone who is understaffed and runs a small business, right, I think sometimes we're just like trying to get it done, right? You're like, how do I get it done? AI can help me get it done fast. Let's go. So I think, again, taking that breath and slowing down. But you guys said that already. I'm just here to listen. Let's go, everybody.
All right. Number 2, how do you find the neutral ground with AI intelligence in the workplace? So
Yeah, I think when I was in the Air Force, I got assigned to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base at the headquarters building, doing a lot with like manpower analysis and personnel, like adjusting the amount of people that were each unit, doing studies on those things, like to kind of adjust the amount of people that were assigned to each unit. And a lot of people were, a lot of their job involved them. They would get in their inbox dozens and dozens of Excel sheets. They would have to go in there and manually change numbers in there and then send it to somebody else. That was like 90% of their job. So when I came in there and said, hey, we can automate a lot of this, kind of put it in the dashboards. And I thought it would make their job a lot easier. A lot of them were very hesitant to have that implementation because they were really worried that their job was going to get replaced. When in reality, what it enabled them to do is gave them more time back where they were able to then kind of actually look at the different trends and say, hey, these are some deeper concerns we have here. This unit, there's certain things that, without getting too much in the weeds, they basically, had a loss of manpower that wasn't being tracked correctly. They wouldn't have identified that when they were just manually doing those edits every single day, but because they had the time to actually look at the numbers and think about why certain changes and trends were happening, it actually empowered them to spend more time problem solving and doing the creative side of their job. So they didn't lose their job. They got to have more fun actually doing their job, and things were more accurate, and they were able to solve more problems. So I think it's really trying to convince people that, hey, this is not just a way to get rid of your job. This is not a way to change what you're doing with radical changes of going from simple manual inputs to them dealing with other new processes, but that it doesn't necessarily, it's not there to replace them. They just have to kind of take that leap and start learning that new process.
And I'm going to throw. I just read an interesting article about one of the big companies. Everybody knows IBM. IBM actually just went back and looked. Originally, IBM had transitioned about 8,000 jobs using AI, and mostly was in HR fields like that. What they ended up finding out was on the back end, even though they replaced those legacy systems, those analog processes, it actually created 8,000 additional jobs. So I actually, in one of my briefs, I talk about there's an organization called the World Economic Forum that back in 2020 said by 2025, 85 million manual jobs were going to be replaced by technology, but 97 million new jobs are going to be created. Go forward in time, the most recent, we had a little lag with COVID, but then we had a kick in of AI. The most recent statistic that they've said is 170 million new jobs will be created and 92 million jobs will be lost from legacy to technology. So the bottom line is, although technology, you got to stay current and learn how to use the tools to be efficient to move forward with in just about every industry. So you can fear it, learn about it, educate yourself, but at the end of the day, business has embraced it, and going back to finding that common ground. One of the, I think, the important things for any company is you've got to socialize any change that you have. Then keep in mind that you're going to have to educate your people on AI literacy. So help the staff understand the capabilities and limitations. And AI as a science, those different tools that are created by AI is being integrated into just about every information technology that is out there. The question is, it gets overwhelming. It's kind of like that sea of goodwill for veterans. There's a lot of organizations out there that want to help us as veterans. The question is, what's the right fit for you, and who are the ones that are actually genuinely trying to help you, or who are the ones that are potentially, are taking advantage of you, or are just creating a tool to create a tool that may not be the right tool for your organization. So, educate yourself, move forward, use your network, find those folks in the community that are using stuff, and take recommendations from viable sources that are out there. So that's kind of my 2 cents on that one. And Allie.
Yeah, I actually have something to contribute here, guys.
All right.
Mainly because I've been told I'm going to be replaced by AI. So a couple times this year, I've had a tech company come and say, we don't need your organization. We're going to create an AI chatbot that's going to help people recover. It's going to cover the whole shebang, right? The mental health, the where to go, where to report, all that stuff. It's fine. We don't need you. And I think that maybe sometimes that will work for people, right? But then there's going to be people who aren't going to want to touch that AI chatbot, right? There's still always going to be people who want to talk to a human. So I think that sometimes, yeah, AI is going to be a complete solution, and it's just going to get better. And it's going to, I mean, people are dating AI now. Like, what? That is blowing my mind, right? But I guess if it works for you, it works. I'm not here to judge. But I think, again, it's always going to be sometimes, and tech has always done this to us, right? A new tech comes out and we're like, everybody's going to lose their job and we're all going to be homeless. And yet we figure it out. New jobs are created, new things are created. So I think it just is an interesting conversation that's going to continue, right, over the years. And then pretty soon there's going to be holograms or robots walking around, right? So like AI is just the latest hotness. In a couple of years, we're going to have to figure this out with something else. So that's my 2 cents. If you're dating an AI, rock on, do your thing. I hope you're happy.
I have a feeling being that AI now can actually pass the bar, that if you're dating one, you're gonna lose if you have a split. They're gonna probably take you to the bank, and that'll be a whole different
Start
scheme in itself.
preparing. Start
Just saying.
preparing. Yeah.
All right, let's see what time we got here. All right, still got some time. Number 3. What are some of the most important tools for newcomers to learn to use? So I'd kind of relate that both. I can relate more on the cyber side, but so there's a lot of new tools in AI. So Ethan, you want to start out on the AI side, or if you have some cyber recommendations?
Sure. Yeah, I definitely stay on the AI side more than the cyber. I mean, I feel like there's 10 new AI or large language models putting out every single day. I think your best bets are usually to stay with some of the safe options, ChatGPT, Gemini, options like that, unless you have a really specific use case. Again, like I don't think you're going to beat them price wise. You're not going to beat them in terms of the quality that they're providing. Their data security is also going to be way higher at those than some of these, I want to say rink-a-dink, but like more one-off shoots where people are just throwing things together. And I bet you a lot of the times, if you look at all these different AI tools that are coming out, most of them are just using APIs to call ChatGPT, basically. So what that means is it looks like they have their own custom large language model, but when you give them your question or you give them documents, they're sending that right to ChatGPT. They're formulating the answer, and then maybe they're changing the format of it a little bit or adding something else in there, but they're basically just utilizing ChatGPT to create a business for themselves. So and at that point, you're better off just doing yourself with ChatGPT. I can find some resources and put those in the chat real quick for some of the places where I kind of learned some of the basics of like coding, data analytics, and stuff like that, just to kind of understand the language a little bit, understand what some of these different terminologies and stuff are. Data Camp was the one that I primarily used. They have a lot of free classes in there. You can look up the Google. They have free data analytics programs. I think IBM does as well. These tools will kind of help you understand how the data works, how it's implemented into these large language models, how it kind of breaks down these documents that provide you the answers if you're interested in these kind of things. And that will help kind of lead you down the path if you are still more interested in learning how to code and start building some of these tools of your own.
Allie, I'm going to go last this time because you threw some good stuff out last time. So I know you got something going in there you want to recommend.
Yeah, no, honestly, like, yeah, rock on, Ethan. The only thing, again, I'll bring that human side to it is just, make sure you're discerning everything that you're using. You're still interacting and being a human about it. But no, I have nothing to contribute to that lovely answer. Go ahead, Brian.
All right, I'll hit it a little bit from the cybersecurity side, and again, I'm out of the fight a little bit. I've been retired a few years, more on the training and education side. Although I do have 2 college students that are both cybersecurity majors. So my oldest just graduated. So I can tell you, from a cybersecurity side, and if you look at the construct, if you're going to go to cybersecurity and you're going to work for a company, and especially a large company, you're potentially going to probably work in a cyber operations center. Historically, most organizations had a network operations center. They had a security operations center. As time has gone by, they've combined a lot of those. But as a security analyst, you're going to be using SIEM tools. So SIEMs are your security information and event management tools. And a lot of those are now AI integrated, right? So those are the tools that are monitoring all your networks and all your end user devices and places where bad guys can potentially get into your network. So, I know my boys use Splunk and IBM QRadar. There's a lot of them out there, but bottom line, that'll all be part of your education process. So, and those companies will be using. So I always tell veterans, as you're doing your, information preparation of your new career field, look at the companies that you're going to want to go work for. If they have that culture, find out what kinds of tools they're using. You might want to start off with vendor neutral certifications like the CompTIAs, but then if you know what a company is using, start getting those certifications. So I know we have the whole Fortinet suite. So Fortinet is a cybersecurity company that most of you may not know about, but it is utilized in most cybersecurity systems. So we have those that you can take advantage of at no cost. Get those certifications, whether it be getting your networking plus versus your CCNA. So if the companies are using Cisco as backdrops, vendor neutral is great, but get that vendor specific, because then when you get in there, you're not going to have to get retrained when you get in the ground. And that's a great talking point when you do your interview. So your endpoint protections, your CrowdStrikes, your Sentinel-1s, those are all entry-level security devices. And like I said, that's all stuff I know my boys have learned how to use as part of they've gone out and done their internships and so forth. And then as Ethan said, those AI platforms, look at those bigger companies, whether it's the Google Cloud, the Googles, the Azures, you got you kind of got the big three, the Microsoft, and I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'll be honest with you, I keep 4 different AI models up, and I bounce them off each other depending on what I'm looking for, because they all have different capabilities. When I'm doing deep research, the ones that have the footnotes where I can go in and do deeper dives and find out where they pull the data from when I'm doing research, that's the ones I want. I'll use that tool. Or the other ones will just kind of give you, and then now what you're starting to see is a lot of AI models will give you different options to how they're gonna research. So they may do a deep research. It's going to take more time, but it's going to give you more accurate data. So it's time. There is no quick answer. So if you want good accurate data, and you want those big supercomputers to try to cut back on hallucinations and find, you're going to have to give it a little bit of time, even though they're working at quantum speed. So the AI platforms, as Ethan said, even if you need to understand the languages, even if you have to have a base understanding of the languages to be able to use the tools that are creating new code. So I think I've seen a couple of studies that said by the end of this year, 89% of code is going to be written by AI infused tools. Well, that's great if you're using them, but if you don't know the language, when the tool starts throwing out misinformation or hits a block, then you're not going to have the old school analog theory to be able to kind of dig back into it and figure out where the mistakes were made, and then using some of those protected tools, having access on a cyber side to what they call cyber ranges. So the ability to practice your trait in a constrained environment that's not necessarily connected to the internet or not going out and affecting other things. So it's a sterile controlled environment where you can learn and not worry about either doing stuff illegal or having impact on people's data. So those are just kind of my couple of pieces of input from the cyber side. All right, we got about 12. I will do one more. Well, actually, let's do this. We do have a couple more, but let's see if there's any of our participants that have any, based off of the information that our guests and myself and the topics that we brought up, that you may have. We've got the chat opened up. If anyone wants to throw a question up in there and see if we can take a shot at it, and the other thing I will do is I'll actually also throw up my info, so that just like Ethan did, if you want to reach out to me either via email or LinkedIn, you feel free to do it. But let's open up the chat to any real-time questions, and if we don't get any, I'll throw one last one from our earlier submitted questions. So we'll give it a couple seconds.
Yeah, I think you're good, Brian, for maybe one last quick question. You're on mute, though.
All right, I'll do one last one, and then
Okay.
this is actually a pretty semi softball, but I think a pretty good one that I would have asked if I was on the other end. So the last one is, what are the skills we need in the next 5 years? Because we keep talking about we're not wanting to get replaced by AI. What are the skills we need in the next 5 years to know to handle AI in our profession and our personal lives? That's a good one.
I'd say the biggest thing is we talked about it a lot today is that data security. I think you see a lot of these companies when they're able to offer these services for very cheap. It's because they're collecting your data and because they're trying to use that to either, tailor the marketing towards you for different advertising products, or because it might eventually fall into the wrong people's hands. I would say keeping your data secure, as we talked about today. I would say being able to, like I shared in the chat, a way to have better prompts when you're asking, whether it's ChatGPT and other tools, to help get better answers out of it. I think prompt engineering, is what that is going to be super important for that. Be able to differentiate between how you ask something somewhat well and really well. I would say those are the two biggest things, and then being able to uh, critically think. I think one of the biggest problems right now, a lot of students, my younger siblings are still in high school, and I think them and a lot of their other students are struggling to be able to critically think through something. They can instead just ask ChatGPT, how do I do this? And it'll input exact steps they need, whether it's a math problem, PEMDAS or quadratic equations. It'll show them exactly the steps they have to do that. Which can be useful if you actually do want to kind of understand how those individual steps work. But I think for a lot of people, they just kind of quick copy and paste it over into whatever homework problem they're working on, or when they're reading a book or a paper. It's no longer, let's actually read through this, let's upload these chapters, write me a quick synopsis, what happens in these chapters. People are kind of losing that ability to critically think, and then also to just have the attention span to really focus on something for more than 10, 15 seconds at a time.
I'm gonna jump in because everything you said a million times. I'm an old millennial, an elder millennial. So I remember a time before the internet, right? Now, when we got the internet, my parents were like, here's the internet, right? I didn't know what I was doing, right? Nobody taught me what to do. And so you just like fumbled through it, right? No one taught us how to drive the internet, but they give us all these seatbelts, right? Like strong passwords and use MFA, which is perfect, right? These are great seatbelts. They're going to save our lives. However, if you don't know how to drive to begin with, right? Like, holy crap, like that seatbelt is not going to save you necessarily. So we do need to teach people, and we should start doing this immediately. So make it so, everybody. But teach in elementary schools, like what people should do, how they should treat the internet, how they should treat AI now, right? AI, again, the new hotness is out there. Are we teaching everybody this critically thinking interaction with it, right? You're not, as we said a billion times today already, I feel, you're not necessarily going to get replaced by AI. You're going to get replaced by the person who knows how to use it, by the person who knows their weaknesses and knows how to implement AI in a way that nullifies those weaknesses or turns those weaknesses into strengths, right? I watched a talk the other day with so many smart tech people who basically said that, right? Don't be afraid of this technology. Be afraid of the person who can wield it and who can critically think with it. And so just a billion times, yes, that prompt thing that you put in there, I copied it because holy crap. How many times have I put something into an AI tool, ChatGPT specifically, and it's like, wow, Allie, that is so smart and you're so great. And I'm so glad you brought this to my attention. And blah, blah, right, it affirms everything I said. And I'm like, I screwed up, right? Because I want ChatGPT to push back at me. I want it to brainstorm with me and tell me when I'm wrong. But it ain't going to do that, right? It wants to please me. It wants to be like, oh, you're the best human ever. Here's your answer, right? And so learning how to prompt correctly and actually get it to push back at you and give you a contrary right opinion is I've been working on that for months and I think I finally got there, right? So I think that's part of it too. So that's my human 2 cents, everybody.
Oh, thank you so much. You guys, all amazing. This is such great information. And that's why there's ChatGPT romance, because it's so nice to you all the time. There's no eye rolling.
Definitely.
Anyways, but thank you so much for participating and for everyone who joined. And again, we will be sending out the recording later this afternoon. So can't thank you enough. This was really, really enlightening.
And I am going to throw in a selfish plug because both Ethan and Allie talked about prompting. Of the three tools that we provide, the Google prompting essentials was actually my favorite. I probably took the most out of it because it gave me a process. It taught me about iteration. And one of the great things about being a veteran is we have those analytical skills. We've operated, we've learned how to do things in process and procedures. So all those great, we're getting away from soft skills, but all those skills that you developed in your veteran life can be applied to utilizing of of AI in a ethical and productive way. So that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. That's amazing. Well, thank you, everybody, again, and we'll be getting that out to you fairly soon.